Smoke filled the air. The battlefield was broken, just like the metal armor scattered across the dirt. Red suns hung low above the hills, casting long shadows over the bodies. The war between humans and the Jarnock had lasted for years. But today, something strange happened. A single human soldier stood in the middle of the field. His armor was cracked, his breathing heavy. His name was Corbin Hale, one of the last survivors from Earth's forward scout unit. Blood both alien and human covered his gloves, but he held his blade steady at his feet. A Jarnac warrior knelt. In silence, she was tall, strong, and wild-looking. Her silver hair was tangled and dirty. Her dark blue skin was bruised. But even in defeat, she didn't cry. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if her body refused to break even now. Corbin kept. The blade pointed at her throat. The alien girl didn't flinch. She looked up at him with glowing red eyes. For a moment, they stared at each other, killer and captive. Then, she whispered, "Don't kill me, human. I'll warm your bed." Corbin froze. Her voice was deep, but soft, almost shaking. Knees were pressed into the cold ground, her hands behind her back. A strange metal collar around her neck blinked red. "What did you say?" Corbin asked, confused and cautious. The alien girl repeated, this time, louder. "I said I'll warm your bed. Just don't kill me." His grip on the blade tightened. Was this a trap? Some weird alien trick? Her tone didn't match her warrior? Look, she wasn't begging, she sounded like someone trained to say those words, like a prisoner taught what to say for survival. "Are you a soldier or a servant?" he asked. "I was a warrior," she said bitterly. "Now I am. Whatever you want me to be." Corbin glanced around. No backup, no medevac, no command signal. Just him and her in a field of silence and smoke. And that collar, something about it wasn't right. It pulsed every few seconds, flashing red like a warning light. He lowered the blade slightly. "What's that thing around your neck?" She didn't answer at first. Then she looked away and muttered, "A mark of surrender or shame." It records. "Everything I say, if I refuse to obey, it punishes me." Corbin's eyes narrowed. "Your own people did this?" "Yes," she said softly. "If we are defeated, we are no longer worthy of death. We become tools for the enemy." That hit him hard. Corbin had fought Jarnac warriors before. Brutal, deadly, proud. But he'd never seen one kneel like this. He never imagined their culture could be so cruel. "You really thought I'd use you?" he asked, disgusted. "That's what always happens," she said. "Human males always do." Corbin stepped back. "Not this one." She blinked, confused. "You won't. I'm not a monster," he said. "You're not my trophy. You're a prisoner, not a toy." Silence stretched between them again. Her eyes watched him carefully, searching for lies. "Then what will you do with me?" she finally asked. Corbin looked down at her, this powerful, broken warrior, now nothing. "More than a prisoner wrapped in pain and shame," he sighed. "I'll take you back to base. Get that collar off. Give you food, water, maybe even your freedom," she scoffed. "You think I can be free after this?" "I don't know," he said honestly. "But you won't be hurt, not by me." Her shoulders slumped. The tension in her face softened, just a little. For the first time, she looked less like a beast and more like a person. He lowered the blade fully and offered his hand. She stared at it like it was a strange object. Slowly, with hesitation, she placed her palm in his. Her touch was warm even through the dirt and bruises. "I have no name," she said. "Then I'll give you one," Corbin replied. "You can pick later when you're ready." As they walked away from the battlefield, side by side, Corbin felt something strange stir inside him. She had offered to warm his bed in fear, but now he wondered what might happen if she ever offered it by choice. And behind them, the collar blinked once, more recording every step, every word, unseen. Eyes were watching. But for now, Mercy had won, and that was just the beginning. Asterisk, the human camp was quiet under the pale moons of ill. Tar. The war had ended, here at least for now. But inside the secure med tent, the silence was sharp, heavy. Every heartbeat, every breath seemed loud in the strange stillness. The alien warrior sat on the edge of the cot, her back straight like a blade. She hadn't spoken since they arrived. The collar on her neck still blinked red. Her blue skin was bruised in places, her ribs clearly aching. But she had refused all help. "Let me at least clean your wounds," Corbin offered again. "No." Her voice was flat, emotionless. He studied her face, strong jaw, fierce eyes. But behind that strength, something was cracking. Not her bones, her spirit. "You're safe here," he said. "No one's going to touch you." She laughed bitterly. "You still don't understand, human. I'm already touched. Damaged. My own people did that." Corbin sat across from her, elbows on his knees. "You said the collar was punishment. Why?" The warrior hesitated. Her fists tightened, her eyes fell to the floor. "In Jarnok culture," she began slowly, "a warrior who surrenders is worse than dead. We are marked. Our names are removed. Our families reject us. The collar broadcasts our failure across the hive networks." Corbin frowned. "So they see you now, ... as nothing?" "No," she whispered. "They see me as a tool. For breeding. For humiliation. For ... soft purposes." She nearly spat the last words. Corbin felt a knot in his chest. "That's why you said what you said back on the field." She nodded slowly. "The collar carries pre-programmed scripts, forces us to offer ourselves in specific ways designed to please enemies. If we disobey or refuse, the collar shocks us." "That's twisted," he muttered. "You weren't begging. You were programmed." She looked at him sharply. "What?" "But I meant it to." He blinked. "What?" She stood suddenly and stepped closer.
"What?"
"I didn't just say those words because of the collar. I said them because I thought you were going to kill me. And her voice cracked for the first time. "I didn't want to die alone. Cold." Corbin didn't move. She wasn't threatening him. She was opening up. Piece by piece. "You ever had a name?" he asked. She shook her head. "Jarnok females earn their names after 10 battles. I only completed 9 before. Surrender." "Well," Corbin said softly, 10 doesn't sound so far off." Her eyes glistened for a moment, but she quickly turned her back to him. "Names mean nothing now. I am a discarded weapon. If I go back, I will be used. If I stay, what am I?" Corbin got up and stepped beside her. He reached for the collar. He whirred faintly as his fingers brushed it. "I need to remove this," he said. "Let me try." "You'll trigger the failsafe," she warned. "I'll be burned inside out." Corbin didn't stop. "Not if I disable it first." She looked at him, startled. "You know how?" "I fought in the Anzu sector. We captured a few of your kind there. I learned a few things from your tech." She blinked. "And you used that knowledge to kill my people." "No," Corbin said quietly. "I'm using it now, to save one." He walked to the control table and pulled out his old datapad. With careful fingers, he connected it to the collar's hidden port. It sparked once, then hummed. Her shoulders tensed. He whispered, "It's working. It's sinking." Beads of sweat rolled down his forehead as he typed. Then dash click, the collar's light turned blue. It hissed open and slid off her neck, falling to the ground with a soft thud. The warrior gasped and fell to her knees, coughing hard. Her hands shook. Her eyes widened as if she couldn't believe it. She touched her neck. No burn, no shock. "I'm free," she whispered. Corbin knelt beside her. "Yes, you are." Her lips moved, trying to say something. But no words came out. Her face twisted not in pain, but in confusion. She was a warrior trained for battle, not for kindness, not for mercy. "Why would you do this?" she asked finally, voice trembling. "Because," Corbin said, looking her in the eyes, "you were never just a tool, and I don't want a weapon next to me. I want someone who can choose." She stared at him for a long time. Then, for the first time since her defeat, she bowed her head, not from fear, but from something else entirely. Respect. The human outpost was quiet at night. Wind whispered through the steel walls, carrying dust from the battlefield far beyond. Inside the temporary shelter, dim lights hummed above a room that wasn't built for comfort, but at least it was warm. Corbin stood near the door, arms crossed, watching her closely. The alien girl, the Jarnak warrior, without a name, stood, frozen near the cot. Her eyes didn't leave it. Not the blanket, not the soft pillow, just the bed itself. "That's it," Corbin said calmly. "You can sleep there. It's not a trick." She tilted her head slightly. "This is a human mating platform." Corbin nearly choked. "What?" "No. It's a bed. You sleep on it, alone. You rest." Her eyes narrowed with confusion. "But you said I would be safe, that I was free. Yet you bring me into your den and offer a nest? I've heard how humans... soften us first, before they..." Corbin raised a hand. "Whoa, stop right there. This isn't like that. No one's touching you. I'm offering you a place to sleep. Not a claim." Still, she didn't move. Corbin sighed. He turned and walked over to the other side of the room, grabbing a small pillow and placing it on the floor. He sat down and leaned against the wall. "There," he said. "See, I'm staying right here. You get the bed?" She looked between him and the bed again. "Why do humans sleep off the ground?" "It's warmer," he said, "more comfortable, easier on the body." She hesitated. Slowly, with cautious steps, she approached the cot. Her fingers grazed the blanket, then pulled back like it might bite her. She ran a palm across the pillow. It was soft, too soft. Not like the rough stone slab she was used to sleeping on. "In Jarnak camps." "I don't understand," she whispered. Corbin smiled slightly. "You will." She finally sat down. The bed shifted beneath her weight, and her eyes widened. She didn't move for a long moment, then carefully laid back. Silence. Then her voice, small and unsure. "The surface molds to me. It's strange." "That's called comfort," Corbin said from the floor. After a long pause, she spoke again. "My people don't believe in comfort. Comfort makes you weak." "And yet," Corbin replied, "you haven't moved since lying down." She stayed quiet. Kik could tell she was trying to process everything. Bed, the freedom, the kindness. It was too much too fast. A few minutes passed. Then came her voice again, this time lower. "Back on the field. I didn't mean it." "Mean what?" he asked. "When I offered to warm your bed," she said slowly. "I thought it was the only way to live, but I didn't. I didn't understand what humans were." Corbin sat up straighter. "What do you mean?" "You fought me like a beast," she said, "but spared me like a brother. You touched me not to claim, but to protect. You removed my collar, not for control, but for choice." Her turned her face slightly toward him, her red eyes glowing dim in the dark. "I've never seen a male of any species act like that." Corbin leaned his head back against the wall. "Maybe we're not as different as you thought." More silence. But this time, it was peaceful. Then came a sound Corbin never expected. A soft laugh. It escaped her lips before she could catch it. She blinked, surprised by her own reaction. "I've never laughed before," she whispered. "Not like that." Corbin chuckled. "You're doing great so far." She pulled the blanket over herself. Her body relaxed, just a little. She closed her eyes and murmured, "What will you do with me tomorrow?" Corbin thought for a second. "Feed you. To walk. Maybe let you choose a name." "A name," she whispered, like something soft, something strong, he said. "Something you like." There was no reply, only her steady breath. Corbin glanced over. She had fallen asleep, peacefully. No fear, no pain, just rest. He stared for a while, amazed at the transformation in just one day. This alien warrior who had once prepared to die in battle now lay curled up in a human bed, safe under a blanket, protected by nothing more than trust. And outside, the wind kept blowing, but inside warmth had finally reached her. The sunrise was quiet, inside the human camp. The alien warrior stood. Near the window, bathed in golden light, her silver hair shone softly. She wore clean clothes, no simple fabric, nothing fancy, but for the first time. Her body wasn't wrapped in blood or chains, and for the first time, she looked unsure. She touched her bare neck, still half expecting the collar to shock her, back into obedience. But there was nothing, no pain, no command voice in her ear, just the wind and the quiet hum of the human bass waking up. Behind her, Corbin stirred from sleep. He rubbed his eyes and smiled when he saw her standing. "You slept," he said gently. "You didn't scream. Not once." She looked back. "Is that strange? For someone who's been through hell, it's a miracle." She turned back to the window. "Miracles don't happen for people like me." Before Corbin could reply, the camp alarm blared. Intruder detected. Unknown signatures. Multiple life forms. Corbin jumped up, grabbing his rifle. "Stay here," he said, voice sharp now. But she didn't move. Her body had gone stiff. The signal, she whispered. "I know it. That's them." "Who?" Corbin asked. She turned slowly, eyes wide. "My own kind." The Jarnock sent a blood squad. Corbin narrowed his eyes. "They came to take you back?" "No," she said. "They came to kill me." Corbin sprinted to the outer gate. Rising in the distance, 7 Jarnac warriors, riding bone-armored beasts, closed in fast. Their armor bore red marks, blood seal symbols, used only when the target was considered worse than dead. "Blood squad," muttered. They really did send an execution team. From behind, the alien girl approached slowly. She carried no weapon, but her posture was tall, proud. "They will not take me alive," she said firmly. "You don't have to fight," Corbin told her. "Let me handle it." She laughed darkly. "You would die. They are not like me. They are true-born." Corbin lifted his weapon. "I've killed true-born before." She looked at him, really looked. And then she did something shocking. She knelt at his feet and drew her nail across her palm, letting her blood fall onto the dirt. Then she grabbed Corbin's hand and smeared her blood across his wrist. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Invoking the blood oath," she said. "You spared me, freed me. That makes you part of my fate now. I die protecting you. If I live for you." Corbin stared at the blood on his wrist. "You sure about this?" "I am Jarnock," she said. "Psst. But more than that, I am yours." Before he could argue, the first spear hit the gate. The attack was violent. Jarnock Blood Squad warriors moved like demons, fast, silent, merciless. But Corbin and the alien girl fought back, side by side. She didn't hesitate to throw herself into danger. She used her fists, claws, even broken pieces of metal as weapons. And when one of the assassins raised a blade toward Corbin's neck, she took the strike instead. The knife buried deep in her side. She dropped to one knee, snarling in pain. Corbin shot the attacker before he could finish the job, then dragged her behind cover. "Don't die," he shouted. "You swore to protect yourself, not just me." She coughed, blood on her lips. "You removed my collar. Now let me remove your fear." Her hand reached into her pocket. She pulled out something glowing, a small red stone, oval, flickering. Corbin recognized it from reports. A bindstone. "I offered this," she gasped, "not because I'm forced, but because I choose." She pressed it to his chest. The stone flared. A line of glowing red light traced from her hand to his heart. In Jarnock culture, this ritual wasn't just symbolic, it was sacred. Only offered once in a lifetime, never forced. "You're crazy," Corbin whispered. She smiled faintly. "No, just finally free." The last 2 assassins hesitated when they saw the bindstone's light. One of them cursed in their language and spat on the ground. "She chose a human," one hissed. "She is truly dead to us." But neither dared attack further. The ritual made her untouchable, not a traitor, but one who had passed into another life path. They fled. An hour later, Corbin patched her up in the med bay. She was weak but alive. "You didn't have to protect me," he said quietly. She looked up. "You're wrong. I had to, because no one has ever protected me." They sat in silence again. This time it wasn't awkward. It was the start of something new. The desert planet's sun was harsh by day, but its nights were cruel. The warmth disappeared fast, and cold crept in like a silent predator. Inside the broken shelter half-tent, half-ruined Corbin wrapped his jacket tighter around himself. His breath was visible, fogging in front of him. The heater had died 2 hours ago. Power cells were drained. They had no fire, no backup, and no choice but to stay through the night. She sat in the corner, arms crossed, silent. Her skin was pale. From the blood loss, her wound wrapped in layers of gauze. But it wasn't the pain that made her tremble now. It was the cold and something else. Something harder to admit. "You're freezing," Corbin said, breaking the silence. "I am Jarnock," she replied through gritted teeth. "We do not freeze." He gave her a look.
Oh.
"You're shivering so hard your teeth sound like a broken engine." She looked away, proud as ever, but her hands clenched the thin blanket tighter. Her body was built for battle, not survival in low temperatures. And without her armor, she was vulnerable. Corbin checked the last heat tab burnt out. He took a slow breath, then spoke gently. "There's one option left." She raised an eyebrow. "Body heat," he said. "We sleep close. Share warmth. No touching unless you want. Just heat." She stared at him. Jarnock warriors didn't cuddle. They didn't share space unless it was battle or mating. Her voice was soft. "And if I say yes, you will not take it as permission for something more." Corbin lay down on his side of the broken bed. "If I ever do anything you don't want, I want you to stab me in the neck." "Deal." A pause. Then, to his surprise, a tiny smile tugged at her lips. "Deal," she said. She walked over stiffly and lay down beside him, facing the other way. Their backs touched barely. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then the warmth started. Her muscles slowly relaxed. The cold pain in her fingers began to fade. Corbin's steady breathing beside her was strangely comforting. "I thought you're kind." "We're always hot-blooded," she muttered. "Only when angry," he joked. She smiled again, just a little. Silence settled. And then, "I never shared a bed before," she said. Corbin blinked. "Ever?" She nodded. "In Jarnock camps, we sleep alone. Weakness spreads through contact. Even as younglings, we train to fear comfort." "Sounds lonely," he said softly. "It was. But that was our way." Comfort was weakness. "Pain made us strong," Corbin whispered. "And now?" She turned her head slightly, her voice lower. "Now. This feels stronger than anything I was ever taught." They didn't speak for a while after that. Their breathing synced naturally. She inched just a little closer, not to provoke, but to survive. Out. Still, her heartbeat beat faster when her shoulder touched his chest. And strangely, Corbin's did. 2 hours passed. In the middle of the night, a howl echoed through the wind outside. Something large moved past the tent. A desert predator. Corbin reached for his rifle, but the creature passed. When he turned back, he found her. Watching him, her red eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "I've never felt this before," she whispered. "This safety." Corbin placed the rifle beside him and lay back down. "It's not just you. I don't remember feeling this either." She hesitated. Then softly, she reached for his hand beneath the blanket. Not out of fear, not from duty, just curiosity. When their fingers touched, Corbin didn't move. He let her hold him just for a moment. Her hand was warmer now, steady. "I don't want this night to end," she said quietly. Corbin looked over at her, his voice almost a breath. "Then let it last as long as it needs to." She closed her eyes, and for the first time since she was taken captive, she smiled in her sleep. The morning light barely touched the sky when everything went wrong. Corbin had left the shelter early to search for supplies batteries, dry food, anything to keep them alive longer. He promised her he'd be back before sunrise. He always kept his promises, but now he wasn't coming back. She stood outside their ruined camp, red eyes locked on the horizon. The sun was climbing, but there was no sign of him, no signal, no footsteps, nothing. Her gut twisted. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She sprinted. She found him an hour later, in a broken canyon slumped against a cracked wall. Blood soaked his shirt. His rifle was snapped in half beside him, smoking device Jarnak Tekle. Near his boot, it was a trap. They'd planted it, not to kill her, to kill him. She dropped to her knees beside him. His breathing was shallow. A jagged piece of metal was lodged in his side, just above the hip. "Corbin!" she shouted. "Stay awake!" His eyes fluttered open. "You're early," he whispered with a weak smile. "Stupid human," she snapped, voice shaking. "Said you'd be back before sunrise? Guess I'm late, huh?" His head dropped against her arm. "No, no, no." She slapped his cheek lightly. "Stay awake." Her hands moved fast. She tore her sleeve, wrapped it around his wound, and pressed hard. Blood kept coming. She looked around. There were no medics. No rescue drones. No allies. Just her. And the man who had freed her, protected her, taught her kindness. And now he was dying in her arms. She couldn't let that happen. Not him. She dragged him across the dirt, step by step, refusing to stop. When he cried out in pain, she held tighter. When he told her to leave him, she growled in his ear, "If you die, I die. That's the oath." Passed out halfway through, she didn't stop. Her arms burned. Her legs shook, but she kept moving. She pulled him back to the shelter, threw the door open with a scream. "Wake up, please. I need help." But the shelter was empty. No humans, no medkits, no hope. Only her. She dropped to her knees beside him. His face was pale. His lips were blue. She pressed her forehead to his. Her body trembled not from cold, but from fear. "I can't lose you," she whispered. "Not now." She reached for the binding cloth and redrew the lines of the blood. Oath across his chest. Then she did something no Jarnak warrior had ever done. She cried. Her tears hit the stone floor like tiny sparks. Each one sizzled slightly Jarnak. Salt tears were chemically strong, a biological defense. But here, they fell for something else. Love she leaned over him, placed her hands on his wound, and began humming softly. Not a song, a vibration. Ancient Jarnak healing chant used for calming soldiers after battle. She had mocked it before. But now, it was all she had. Minutes passed. Then his fingers twitched. She froze. "Corbin." He coughed once, then slowly, painfully opened his eyes. "You're loud," he whispered. She let out a broken laugh. "You're alive," she said. He smiled faintly. "Didn't think you'd cry for me?" She looked away. "I didn't. I just leaked." "Right," he said, voice fading again. "Leaked. Warrior stuff." He passed out again, but this time she saw his chest rising. Steady. Alive, and that was enough. Later, when she cleaned his wound again, she found something beneath his shirt, a small wrapped item, a gift he'd been carrying it the whole time. Inside was a small patchy soldier's cloth insignia, but stitched into it was a new name. She unfolded it carefully. It read, Vera, written in both English and rough Jarnak runes. She stared at it for a long time. He'd made her a name. He never told her. He was waiting for the right moment, and, even while bleeding, he'd still planned to give it to her. Tears welled in her eyes again. It's time she didn't hide them. She pressed the cloth to her chest. "I accept it," she whispered. "Accept everything." Outside, the wind howled. Again, but this time it didn't sound so lonely. The storm passed 2 days later. Corbin was still weak, but alive. Vera hadn't left his side, not even for a minute. She kept his wounds clean, boiled water with scrap metal, and fed him using her own hands. It was strange how quickly she had learned to care, to nurture, to protect. The same hands that once held a blade now held a spoon. She sat near his cot, watching the slow rise and fall of his chest. The name Patchy made for her, Vera, was tied around her arm. Like a badge of honor, it didn't feel borrowed. It felt earned. And now felt right. Corbin stirred at last. His eyes fluttered open. It was cloudy but aware. "You're still here?" he whispered. "I never left." Vera replied, "Should've known better," he joked weakly. "Jarnock don't abandon their duty, right?" Vera didn't laugh. Instead, she stood up, walked a few steps back, and then, slowly she knelt down on both knees before him. His eyes widened. "What are you doing?" "I knelt once before," she said quietly, out of fear. "I offered myself to save my life." She looked up, her eyes soft yet unshakable. "This time I kneel not because I'm afraid, but because I choose you." Corbin stared. At her, stunned, Vera placed her hand on her chest. "I was born a warrior. I was trained to fight, to kill, to die, but no one ever taught me how to live. You did. You showed me warmth, kindness, mercy. You gave me a name when I didn't even have a voice." Tears lined her eyes, but she didn't let them fall this time. "You removed my collar," she said. "But more than that, you removed my chains." "The ones inside?" Corbin reached out, his hand trembling. She crawled closer and took it in hers gently, like it was something fragile. "I don't want to be your prisoner, or your protector, your debt." She leaned forward, forehead touching his. "I want to be your equal, your mate, your warmth." Corbin's throat tightened. His voice cracked as he whispered, "Are you sure?" She smiled. "I have never been more sure of anything." He pulled her into his arms slowly, gently. Her body was strong, warm, enlivened. It fit against his, like it always belonged there. They stayed like that for a long while, just two souls, once enemies, now bound by something greater than war, blood, or honor, something neither of their species could ever truly explain. Later that night, the stars came out. The desert sky was endless, filled with tiny lights that stretched across the universe. Corbin lay on his back, wrapped in a blanket, with Vera beside him, her head on his chest. She stared at the stars. He stared at her, so she said softly, "What now?" "We heal," Corbin replied. "Together." "And then?" she asked. He thought for a moment, then turned to face her. "Then we build something new." She smiled. "Something that doesn't involve blood?" "Hopefully just the good kind," he teased. She chuckled. He took her hand and laced their fingers together. "I never thought I'd end up falling for an alien warrior who once tried to break my ribs," she smirked. "And I never thought I'd fall for a human who sleeps like a child and snores like a dying beast." They laughed quietly under the stars, and somewhere far away, warships still flew, borders were still drawn, battles still raged. But in this small corner of the galaxy, human and a Jarnock warrior had found peace, not through treaties or victory, but through a choice, a shared warmth, and love that began the moment one of them whispered, "Don't kill me."